Welcome to the first of IHN's virtual open houses. I'm here at the Vancouver campus of IHN. My name is Jason Madden, and I am the campus manager of Vancouver IHN, as well as an alumni and graduate of the program. And I love this time of year because this is when we're gearing up and we're getting ready for, September enrollment. And it's always an exciting time, and I love sharing the program and what we have to offer here at the Institute of Holistic Nutrition. And this year has a little bit of a different feel, as I'm sure it's a different feel for everybody. So this is our first time doing this on Zoom. So I'm excited to try something new, and I hope to take you on a journey and give you a little flavor of what we offer here at the Institute of Holistic Nutrition and why it's so near and dear to my heart. I spent 4 years in business school way back when, worked about 10 years in the corporate world. And kind of found my place in a place of, not the greatest of health, not taking care of myself, and not living, I guess, what you would call a fulfilled life. And, it got to the point where I had to take a step back and really focus on my own health. And one of the places that I found was the Institute of Holistic Nutrition. And it was initially, a place for me to go to. I took a leave of absence from work, and I wanted to learn how to take care of myself, how to take care of my body so that I could come back and excel in my career. And, the only word I can describe it is it's transformational, and so transformational that, there was no way that I was going to go back to what I was doing. And, in the words of our founder, I wanted to help heal the planet one person at a time. And that started with myself. And now I have the privilege of being able to step into the role of campus manager and help others on that journey. And whether that journey is the exploration of nutrition for a personal interest or a career, or maybe it's just that I don't know, but there's a calling and you want to satisfy that curiosity and see what that calling's about, then this is the place for that. And so what I'll do next is I'll kind of go through a PowerPoint presentation and a walkthrough of what the program here at IHN looks like. And I'm excited to share that with you. I will ask if you can leave all your questions to the end. So I will be speaking for the next hour or so. And then we'll have about a good 25-30 minutes for some Q&A. And you can just type your questions in the chat there. So maybe jot them down, hold on to them for now. There's a lot of exciting info, so I'm sure questions will come up, and then we'll get through that at the end of the presentation. Okay. The Institute of Holistic Nutrition. It is, I guess how I would sum it up is, the mission of this institute is to, heal the planet through holistic nutrition in orthomolecular medicine. And, we really focus on getting to the root of the issues. This isn't about treating symptoms. It's about understanding symptoms, but it's really getting to that root cause so that we can truly heal people. And, this institution is a dynamic leader in alternative health. And, we are training nutrition professionals to be able to assess and help and truly help their clients by looking at their unique requirements and figuring out how to support them for their optimal health. And so our first campus was opened about 25 years ago in Toronto. Our founder had a dream. She wanted to heal the planet, and her vehicle for that was education. And it really sparked from a deep desire of, when she had this knowledge for herself, how to help people. And yes, she could do that as one woman, one person at a time, or help facilitate an educational facility that will allow more people to have this knowledge. And if each of those people go out and help one person, or even just help themselves, then that's how we can serve the mission of healing the world. And so after success in Toronto campus, 10 years later, the Mississauga campus was opened in 2006. few years after that, we have the Vancouver campus. We are in our 9th year here in Vancouver. And then in 2015, we opened in the nation's capital of Ottawa. So there's 3 ways that you can do the program. The first one is the full-time daytime diploma program. This starts every January and September each year. And I mentioned our next enrollment is coming up in September. Because of the COVID stuff, we have extended our application due date. So applications for September, January 15th is the due date for that. So you might want to mark that date down. And this is done in approximately 1 year. So it's held 4 days a week, Monday through Thursday, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And something I really valued when I took this program was how the full-time program was designed in a way that was optimal for learning. And the whole program is really, you know, when I was in university, it was juggling 5 courses at a time. This is very focused learning. So Monday through Thursday, you're only doing 2 courses at a time and 1 course each day. So Monday and Wednesday might be, say, human anatomy, and Tuesday and Thursday you have another course. And so when you're in class from 10 until 2, you're just dialed in and focused in one area, which is a great way to learn. And then we have the part-time diploma program. So this is done approximately over 2 years, and this is a Monday or Wednesday or Tuesday, Thursday, and it can be very flexible. You know, you might start out Monday and Wednesdays, and then your schedule changes and Tuesdays and Thursdays work better. We can work with you on that. That's one thing I really want to point out about this program is how flexible it is. So whatever you decide to choose, that is the best entry point for you to get started. You're not locked into that. So you could start part-time, your schedule, your circumstances change. You can speed that up and jump into full-time classes. Or maybe you've started full-time, you know, life changes, things come up and you need to dial it down to part-time. You have that flexibility and we're here to work with you to help you do that. And then finally, we have our part-time evening program. This is 2 days a week, Monday and Thursday from 6 until 9:30. And this is great for the working professionals, you know, or, you know, mothers who are at home with children all day, you know, but have some flexibility in the evenings. You know, this is a great opportunity for some of those circumstances to be able to get that entry point into the program. And this is always a very excited group because these are often the people that are juggling multiple things, but they have this deep passion, and this is a way that they can start fulfilling that. And so whether you're learning in class or online, we have a full team at your disposal. So this isn't a do-it-yourself, learn at your own pace kind of thing. This is, you know, world-class professionals in the field of nutrition as instructors. This is full-time administrative staff that are helping you along the way on the journey. And, you know, I talked about it being a transformational journey for me, not just because of the knowledge itself, but because of being in a community with like-minded people. Being around people who think like me, are interested, speak the same language, watch the same documentaries, read the same books. You know, the friendships I made, we can go out to restaurants and be picky eaters together and order weird things. That is such a powerful gift in this program, is being a part of that community and accessing the minds of the instructors. These are professionals who have been working in the field of nutrition, or they're naturopathic doctors, scientists, you know, specialized in a field. And so to be able to draw on some of that experience along with the theory and the textbook knowledge is invaluable. And so putting together your application requirements, high school transcripts, or if you have post-secondary education, then providing transcripts of your diploma or your degree, a completed IHN application form, which you can download from our website, a current resume, an autobiography, 2 to 3 pages, a little bit about yourself and, you know, why this interests you, why you want to study, a little bit about your journey. I often get asked, you know, what should I include in the autobiography? You know, what are you looking for? And the answer is there is nothing specific. It's about you. And so I think it's really a great exercise to just open your heart and kind of document on why you're being drawn to this program. And And that's all you need to do, is just share your true intention. And then once you submit all of that to us, we will do an in-person interview. And this is an opportunity for us to go through the application and have a conversation to really make sure that this is a good fit for both parties. You know, we want to make sure that somebody is coming into this program open-hearted and has the capacity to really take it on. And we certainly don't want to be putting anyone in the program who maybe is not ready to do that. So there we go. I look forward to receiving some applications from some of you here today. And so this is a diploma program. So at the end of the program, you'll receive a diploma in applied holistic nutrition, as well as the designation of certified nutritional practitioner, which is recognized and approved by the Certified Nutritional Practitioners Council of Canada. That's a mouthful. And the designation of CNP is earned exclusively by IHN graduates. So if you're reading things on the internet or following people on social media and you see that CNP designation, you know that that's an alumni of IHN. And upon graduation, our graduates are able to get additional designations. So the International Organization of Nutritional Consultants, they offer designations such as Registered Nutritional Consultant, Registered Orthomolecular Health Practitioner. And then the Canadian Association of Natural Nutrition Practitioner, they have their own designation of Natural Nutrition Clinical Practitioner. And IHN graduates are fully qualified. No further examinations. You can be a member to one of these associations and get those additional designations. Yeah, and besides having some additional letters beside your name, they do have some value for people working internationally and things like that. So, but that's something that we can dive into individually, you know, when we're doing a one-on-one application interview. And then, of course, we have the NANP, which is the American counterpart, and they too recognize this as a comprehensive program for graduates to become a professional member of that organization. So anybody who's thinking about potentially working in the US, there you go. That's an opportunity there as well. And here in Vancouver, we have the privilege of being a designated learning institution, which means that we are authorized by Citizenship and Immigration Canada. So we host international students here at this campus. And again, to draw on my experience, it truly just added such a dynamic and additional learning into the experience to be in class with people from all over the world. And even now, as a campus manager, it's very humbling, to receive phone calls from India and Japan and, emails from all over the world, people that are seeking out this information. And it's not widely available. There isn't schools everywhere with this information. And these are people that want to have an impact in their community. And so I'm always blown away by the interest from around the world and excited to bring that experience into our IHN community because, we can learn so much from each other and personal experiences as much as we do from the textbook. So it truly is amazing and such a privilege. And then we are also designated by the Private Training Institutions Branch, PTIB here in BC, and we hold all of the education quality assurance designations from BC Ministry of Advanced Education. And then our Ontario campuses have the similar accreditations with the Ministry of Educations there as well. And so some of you may have a science background, post-secondary science background, and for those individuals, you can apply for exemptions from the science courses, or 3 of the science courses being human anatomy and physiology, biochemistry, and body metabolism. And when we sit down to do an application interview, we can kind of go through what the application looks like to be exempt from those. But I will say that most of the people that I do talk to that have a science background, they end up doing the science courses again, either as a refresher or just because it's through a new lens. Maybe when they did it the first time around, they didn't have an interest in nutrition. And now to kind of relate it to nutrition and look at it through that lens of nutrition, it usually ends up proving valuable. So the program's made up of 19 courses, and I think that really speaks to the depth and breadth of the curriculum. And I'll take you on a journey through all 19 courses. They're not necessarily in this particular order, but you know, I will sum it up as it kind of starts off with those building blocks, and then kind of moving into what I would call the more applied nutrition courses, and then making stops along the way to really make sure that you're getting a full holistic perspective of everything with nutrition and holistic health, and then capping off with what I would call a professional component where you really get to put some of that theory into practice. So let me take you through what some of these courses look like. So, you know, I talked about the foundation and the building blocks, nutrition and health, the fundamentals. This is really providing that initial framework. It's kind of building the foundation of the nutrition house, so to speak. So this is diving into the micronutrients, looking at the macronutrients of protein, carbs, and fats, and you know, how the body digests them, you know, the important vitamins and minerals that we need. So really kind of putting together those building blocks as we kind of move through all of these other courses. And biochemistry has a similar function. You know, this is understanding the atomic structure, looking at chemical reactions, understanding things from a very cellular and chemical level, and understanding the impacts of those different macronutrients and how the body uses them in cells and kind of puts together the human body. And again, this kind of provides that foundation and some of those fundamental pieces to then carry into some of the other courses. Because it's really it's not about just giving you nutrition information. This isn't about walking out of a program like this with, okay, I know what diets to recommend and I know what foods are good and what foods are bad. That's not what this is about. This is about really building a true understanding of the human body and how nutrition works. Because nutrition is ever evolving. It's rapidly changing. But what's not changing is the science, right? Our understanding of the science sometimes gets elevated, but to be able to walk out of here with that critical thinking, to be able to read research papers, see articles that come out on the internet or in news reports, and be able to understand and kind of follow that science, to be able to make your own judgments of, you know, okay, I think this is really valid and valuable, or, you know, maybe there's another agenda here. And from there, our students then get to learn about human anatomy and physiology. And so this is starting to look at the human body, the endocrine system, the lymphatic system, you know, the nervous system, any interactions between those. And this is going to be super valuable to understand those relationships, because as we start to uncover, you know, real cases, you know, one symptom may lead to another and impact another. And so really understanding those dynamic interrelationships is very valuable and exciting. This is one of those courses where I wanted to do again, because, you know, the human body is just so fascinating. And one of the unique courses to IHN is Ayurveda, you know, mind-body healing. Some of you may have heard the term Ayurveda, may be familiar with it. It comes from India. So this is kind of like holistic nutrition from long time ago. So it's bringing in some of those Eastern philosophies and perspectives that have been, you know, tried, tested, and true, and bringing that into what we also are doing in the West with science. And so looking at things like the dosha, being able to do a tongue analysis and figure out, you know, what is the requirements for a certain individual, you know, what is their constitution, you know, what foods may be good for them and not as beneficial for them. And so just adding additional tools to your toolkit so that when you're looking at things, you're not just looking through one specific lens, but you can kind of bring in all of these different the different perspectives and features. And then body metabolism, building on the science that we learned in biochemistry. This is digging into the details of enzymes, you know, looking at the metabolic reactions that happen in the body, understanding the energy systems and how our body gets energy or produces energy from protein, carbs, and fat, and what the difference is. Looking at digestive hormones, really just understanding metabolism at a deeper level and understanding, like I said, some of those chemical reactions and things that happen. And then we move into nutritional symptomatology. And this is, what I was talking about with kind of when we start to move into the applied holistic nutrition courses, right? This is where we start to understand the clinical assessment, interpreting physiological symptoms of an individual and the relationship to maybe deficiencies that they have. And in this course, you learn over 650 different symptoms of the body and kind of understand, the critical roles that some of those things play and nutritional requirements. And so it's doing some some textbook case studies, as well as this is where you have your first opportunity to really dig into a real life kind of clinical case. And kind of starting with looking at some of the common things that plague us today, like digestive imbalances, stress, anxiety, and kind of how to put together protocols and understand those at a deeper level in those interrelationships. And then from there, we move into part 2 of symptomatology. And this is digging a little deeper into the underlying causes of disease. A deeper understanding of supplementation and orthomolecular medicine and how we can bring that into protocols and how we can use that for specific cases and complex conditions. And we start to dive into some of those more complex conditions, like Crohn's and endocrine dysfunctions, looking at immune system dysfunctions and things like cancer, proper detoxes. This is the meat and potatoes of the program. And I was diagnosed with Crohn's probably over 20 years ago now. And back then, there wasn't nearly the information that there is now. And, as someone who had lived with the disease for quite some time and, had been able to find my own healing, I was blown away by the knowledge of what I learned in this course, because it was like, how did I not know this? As somebody with this, how did I not know, to be quite frank, some of these very direct and easy solutions. So a little bit of a tangent there, but it's just truly, truly valuable. And then nutrition pathology. So this is an overview and understanding of the causes and effect of disease. This is where we start to look at, diabetes, cardiovascular disease, all of these different things that you may come across in a clinical setting, or, that something that you've dealt with yourself or a family member, friends. So it's understanding, okay, what is the pathology? What is the cascade of events that happen in the body that lead to a dysfunction or lead to a disease or an illness? And then we can begin to start to work backwards. Because once we understand that pathology and that symptomatology, now we can start to go, okay, if somebody is in this state, how can we use those same mechanisms in the body to support them and bring them back into a state of wellness? Or how to take a more preventive approach, right? How to stop those cascades from even happening, how to stop some of those processes from even happening. So preventative healthcare is essentially doing that. It's looking, again, at things like osteoporosis, diabetes, atherosclerosis, high pressure, arthritis, all of these things that are very common in our society. They're common, but they're not normal. And that's a key thing, right? Just because it's happening all over the place, it doesn't mean that it's just a normal, inevitable thing that's going to happen. And this is where we start to dig into, how we can use nutrition and lifestyle and things like that to support ourselves. And then probably one of the more fun courses in the program is holistic food preparation. So this is 20 hours of hands-on experience working with a holistic food chef who's also a graduate of the program. And starting to get comfortable in the kitchen setting. You know, we use one of our classrooms here on campus, and we convert it into a kitchen space, and students learn how to ferment, you know, sprout, you know, basic knife skills, how to put together really nutritious and delicious recipes. So, you know, powerful smoothies, how to make your own coconut yogurt, you know, just super fun. And I mean, a nice bonus is, you know, you're spending that 20 hours making recipes, but also tasting them. So definitely a fun course. And then advanced nutrition research. So this is, again, when I was talking about kind of developing that critical mind, advanced nutrition research is helping you do that. But it's looking at research papers, understanding p-values and all these numbers that get thrown around, and being able to understand it and analyze real data and real research, so that, you know, you can stay current by reading, you know, up-to-date scientific research and staying on top of it by understanding some of this. And then we also dig into kind of the ethical concerns, how to actually put together proper research, how to, you know, what are the elements of a good study versus kind of a bogus study. And then being able to start to understand how you can take that information and how you can communicate that to people, right? So what's our responsibilities as nutritionists to share this type of information on social media or on a blog and things like that. And then one of those stops along the way that I talked about, where it's really giving you a holistic perspective and putting more tools in your toolkit, is a very unique course, Herbal Medicine. And so this is understanding how we can use plants as medicine. Now, whether that's making our food more medicinal by using herbs and spices and plants in a culinary setting and adding them to our dishes, or whether it's using them as tinctures and teas. And so looking at remedies for very specific conditions and which plants to use. And then a real fun part of it is there's a herb walk. That's part of it, where we get to have that hands-on approach to be able to recognize some of these plants in the wild. You know, which of these medicines are local to our area that we can actually go out and forage for free and make medicine. You know, dandelions are everywhere. You know, we'll learn, or you'll learn how valuable dandelion is for, you know, the leaves for, you know, making tea, and the roots for eating as a digestive bitter and helping with our digestion, you know, liver detoxification. That's just a small snapshot of kind of what takes place in herbal medicine. And it's, yeah, it's a really, really fascinating course. And nutrition and environment, because if you're here, you have an interest in holistic health, and you're probably aware that it doesn't start and stop with just nutrition. It's also everything that's in our environment. So it's looking at, you know, pesticides and sustainable agriculture, you know, the difference between, you know, organic farming and regular farming, and, you know, household products, you know, the creams that we're using on our skin, the cleaning products that we're using. It's really understanding that full scope, but not to scare you and make you want to live in a bubble, but just to understand these things so that we can make conscious choices, but also understand maybe when we're working with a client, how some of these other factors may be contributing to their symptoms, and really, you know, taking a solution-oriented approach in a course like this. And there's a farm trip, as a field trip as part of this course too, which is really fun. Nutrition through the lifespan, as the name suggests, this is where we walk through the lifespan of an individual. So it's understanding, you know, pediatric nutrition, prenatal nutrition, digging into some common things in childhood or adolescence, like allergies or immune function things, common health concerns for men and women, and kind of, you know, from adolescence to young adulthood, all the way to older age, and kind of looking at some of the challenges that our aging society is facing and how we can support them through nutrition, lifestyle, supplementation. probably one of my favorite courses in the program, Psychology of Disease. This is digging into kind of the emotional part of healing, right? It's not just about having the perfect diet and taking all the right supplements. It's how are we taking care of ourselves emotionally and mentally? And this is really digging into that science of thought and emotion. And what's the relationship to our energy at a cellular level? You know, if we're holding on to emotions, if we're holding on to trauma, how is that actually impacting disease and impacting our body? And so a really fascinating course to kind of dig into the science of that. And to be honest, stir up some things, right? Get us thinking a little bit more full scope, and looking internal as well. I mean, if we're going to be practitioners who are going to heal, we have to explore some of this stuff for ourselves as well and do our own healing. And so, fascinating course. Professional skills development. I came from a business background. I spent 4 years in business school. I worked in the corporate world for many years as a corporate manager in various roles. This was a valuable course. This is starting to put together some of those pieces that will help you after the program. It isn't just, okay, here's a bunch of nutrition theory and off you go into the world to kind of figure it out. So it's under the scope of this program, getting some of those skills. And so professional skills development is working on some of those soft skills, how to get in front of people and do a presentation. You know, how do you take this very complex scientific nutrition information and communicate it to the general public, and how to put that together. So as well as looking at, you know, marketing, whether that's through brochures or through online mediums, you know, interview skills, like all of these things, you know, networking, just really helping you kind of put together that professional communication to help you go and excel in whatever you do. Up next, we have comparative diets. And as the name suggests, this is going through kind of all the diets that, as holistic nutritionists, we may use with our clients, but also understanding like a lot of diets, some of the trendy diets that maybe we wouldn't use or we wouldn't use in every case or scenario, but making sure that we're educated in. Because if we're working with clients, chances are, you know, before they've gotten to us, they've tried many trendy diets. They've tried the Jenny Craig, the Bernstein, the keto diet, all of these things. And so for us to understand, I think empathetically, you know, what they've been through in their search for health, but also for us to have an understanding of what the impacts of some of these diets are, and looking at the science of these very trendy diets, looking at something like the ketogenic diet. Super hot and trendy right now, but really understanding it from where we would use it therapeutically, and the science behind, you know, why it's beneficial for that, and then also being aware of when would it maybe not be beneficial, and understanding which of these diets would be a long-term thing and which of these diets might be a short-term reset. So really getting a full understanding of all of those kind of concepts and approaches. Fitness and sports nutrition. So one of the first things I did after graduating from the program was I worked in sports nutrition, and I was working with amateur and a couple professional athletes in a variety of sports, you know, basketball, soccer, marathon runners. And honestly, most of my reference material or things that I use was from this course, Fitness and Sports Nutrition. And the effects were pretty profound. You know, I think sports nutrition is rapidly evolving. It's still lagging a little bit behind, I think, in the general public. You know, a lot of the things that are getting shared in gyms through kind of, you know, bro science or on, you know, YouTube videos and things like that, it's sometimes either misinformation or it's just a little bit outdated. And so this is really, how can we support athletes from a very holistic approach? And, you know, when I was working with athletes, it wasn't just about, you know, a lot of what they've done, they're already performing at a high level. and aesthetically, you know, they have muscles and they have six-pack abs and all these different things, but maybe they're dealing with injuries. Maybe they're dealing with slow recovery. And so it's diving into some of that. It's understanding, yes, the proteins, carbs, and fats, and what are the energy requirements of an athlete, but also it matters what sources of foods that come from, right? Because I can look like a mean, lean, you know, big muscle machine, but if I'm eating the wrong foods, there could be a subtle inflammation going on you know, that's invisible, and that might lead to, you know, those athletes that are injury prone and things like that. So, really cool course to dive into what those needs of an athlete are and how to do it from a holistic approach, and also just a valuable course for anybody in life. You know, if you're, you know, going to be out jogging or going to the gym, just to understand how to properly fuel your body. And professional practice, another component of that professional part of the program. This is digging into the legal framework of working as a nutritionist. You know, what are our areas of focus, and what areas do we need to kind of stay away from? Understanding how to actually practice in different settings, in a multidisciplinary clinic, you know, on our own as maybe an online consultant, being able to put together business plans. You know, maybe you have an aspiration to work in corporate wellness or have some other business idea, and, you know, being able to structure a proper business plan, a resume, how to do a professional interview, all of these things. So in both this course and professional skills development, I think the other value added is it's a safe place to start to explore those ideas that you have in your head, because as you go through the program and you start to uncover, okay, how can I maybe make an impact in the world? And if this is something that I want to build a career in, you start generating those ideas. And this is kind of that safe place to start playing with those ideas and putting them together and learning how to talk about it and market it. And it might prove to be your template for when you walk out of school. You already have kind of this map of how to move forward and how to succeed. And so there's the 19 courses. They vary in a number of sessions. It's a total of 704.5 hours. So it's, you know, plus probably at least that in your own studying, if not more. And so this is not a quick kind of skim over nutrition. This is that really the depth and the breadth, that really deep understanding. And you don't even have to do the whole program. You can do individual courses. So if there's an individual course of interest, you can always talk to us and we can look at those courses and kind of go through this together. The ones highlighted in yellow are the ones that require prerequisites. So we just have to be mindful of that when we're putting together you know, course schedules and things like that. But yeah, as I said in the beginning, lots of flexibility and lots of ways to help you learn wherever you're at. And then part of the support for your courses is the textbooks and the course notes. So in the middle there, you can see where it says Nutritional Symptomatology and it has the IHN logo. We have digital course notes for each course in the program. And so that's something that you will get before each course begins. And that'll be your study manual and kind of your guide for what you need to know in the course. And that is developed and put together by IHN and the instructors who teach that course. And so very valuable information. And I still have most of these kind of stashed away and refer back to them to kind of keep on top of things. And then you have your required textbooks. So your textbooks that are required for each course. And that just helps you do that kind of deeper dive and get that level of understanding. And I know for me, you know, what was really pleasantly welcomed was the fact that I still use most of these textbooks. You know, they become kind of your encyclopedias and your working books versus my university books that just were collecting dust on the shelf. So yeah. So I mentioned briefly the field trip as part of nutrition in the environment. So there's kind of a great snapshot of it. So this is getting out on a local farm and, you know, actually touching soil, getting close to our source of food and understanding, organic, sustainable agriculture, and yeah, just connecting with our food and learning how we can support the environment and support our food supply. So a really fun and inspiring day. And then holistic food preparation. So I mentioned we kind of have a kitchen space that we set up in our classrooms. And this is a smaller group. This is like 6 to 10 individuals. Now this is the one course that does fall outside of that Monday through Thursday schedule. So this is a 3-day intensive that we do on like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it's offered multiple times throughout the year. So you'll have those dates well in advance and be able to kind of schedule a weekend that works for you. But it's great because it's a really focused time of just 3 days in a kitchen, working with a holistic food chef, and with that smaller number of 6 to 10 people, being able to get some of that more one-on-one instruction and really engage with the whole process. And then the Herb Walk field trip. And both the Herb Walk field trip and the Nutrition Environment field trip, I should mention, also do fall outside those school hours. But again, they're offered multiple times throughout the day. And so it'll be scheduling kind of like a half day on a Saturday or a Friday afternoon to complete this before graduation. So the Herb Walk, getting out, touching the plants, which ones you can actually eat and are edible, and just, yeah, being able to recognize our medicine in the wild. And there's so much, especially we're lucky here in BC and in Vancouver, there's so much medicine just growing everywhere. And so just being aware of it and being able to recognize it. And then our faculty. This is a dedicated team of professionals that are doing incredible work in their fields. So we have graduates of the program who have successful nutrition practices, and they want to teach. They want to teach that next group of nutrition professionals, and so they bring such a wealth of experience and knowledge. As well as we have naturopathic doctors, someone like Olivier in the top corner there, who's got a PhD in biochemistry, and he teaches our biochemistry course. And so really just bringing in top professionals in their area to not only teach the subject, but like I said, to get their perspectives and real life experiences. Some of my best notes were not from the PowerPoint slides being presented, but someone asked a very thoughtful question, and the instructor is able to kind of go down a road where they're sharing maybe a specific client case or a specific experience they had, and it's so valuable to draw on the knowledge of these faculty. And doing those 19 courses, you're probably going to have 15 different instructors, and so having all of these different perspectives and different experiences and backgrounds kind of helps put everything together in your knowledge bank, which is incredible. And Student for a Day. So this is available to all of you. If this has sparked an interest and you want to experience it for yourself, right now we are doing online classes while we are going through this pandemic. And so there's an opportunity to be a student for a day, to log into Zoom like you are today and sit in on a live instruction class, to really get a feel for what's the material being taught, and experience it. Because I can talk all day about my experience and how great I think the program is, but it's a different thing to feel it for yourself. And so I encourage you to reach out and jump in for Student for a Day and experience some of that. And then a couple things that one of the things that we have on campus a couple times a year is Student Appreciation Day. And this is an opportunity to give back to the students of IHN. And so sharing some goodies and some samples, having some great door prizes and raffles, and bringing back some of our alumni so that they can share what they're doing with our students as well. So in that bottom corner there, Shockingly Healthy, that's Lauren. Lauren's a graduate of the program. She developed a line of healthy treats. So she's got like chickpea brownies and some cookies, and she's in Whole Foods and a bunch of health food stores across Canada. And so being able to celebrate what those graduates are doing, and also for them to kind of give back to our students as well. So really, really fun day. And then besides the program, we have some other things that go on campus. One of them is our daytime guest speakers. So guest speakers happen bi-weekly here in Vancouver, and it happens after class. It's an hour lecture from 2 until 3, and bringing in somebody who is not only professional in their field, but has just valuable information to share. And it's on a variety of topics. So, this one here was neuroendocrinology and understanding natural approaches to mental health. So yeah, we touch on mental health in the program, but having, again, bring in more knowledge and more professions and professionals to speak on some of these things that you can add to that knowledge bank and into your toolkit. And so this is an opportunity for students and alumni to attend these for free. And sometimes it's nutrition related topics. Sometimes it's outside of nutrition, but in the sphere of holistic health, it may be beneficial to you as a practitioner or a learning student. And then we also have special evening lectures, and these are paid lectures that, again, really dive into a topic. And this one was a great one. Understanding cannabis, a naturopathic Dr. Sean, who specializes in using cannabis in his practice. And so really digging into the science of cannabis, how it can be used effectively and therapeutically, and for what conditions and things like that. So again, bring in those elements that are maybe new and evolving, to get you some exposure to that. And then I think this highlights what I was talking about in terms of bringing everything in a holistic sphere. So sacred geometry, exploring, some of those deeper holistic philosophies in education. So really just trying to build a community here where we're sharing all of this holistic health information that will help us in our personal goals and maybe in our career objectives. We have continuing education. So continuing education can be taken while you're a student, can be taken as an alumni. It's kind of catered to both, and it depends on what your area of interest is. And so these are usually, 6-week courses where it's maybe one evening a week for 6 weeks, or it's a weekend intensive on a variety of topics to build on your skill set. So maybe if you're a practicing clinician and coming back and upgrading your skills after you've been out of the program for a few years, or it's doing a deeper dive in something like herbal medicine. Maybe you do the herbal medicine course in the program and it really sparks an interest that, wow, like I think herbal medicine is kind of where I really want to focus. Then doing something like our Con Ed with Fiona, which was postponed during the pandemic, but we'll have in the fall. And this is an intensive of understanding medicine making, getting real hands-on on making your own medicine and tinctures and how to use them therapeutically. So kind of building on some of the skills that you've learned in the core program. So talking about building on skills, a valuable piece for me, when I was even making the decision to attend IHN, was the Practicum Experience component. And, being able to take that theory and then put it into practice while in the program and get some of that hands-on experience. And so much like a university model, this is a very formal managed process where it's a 3-way partnership between you, the student, IHN, and the Practicum partner or employer. And being able to start to get some of that hands-on experience that is vetted through IHN. These are opportunities that we have a dedicated staff that are working on. And actually, let me jump to the next slide while I finish that thought. One of the reasons that it's valuable is that this isn't a placement where it is, an assigned thing to you. This isn't just, hey, you're going to go work in this clinic for X amount of hours. This is something that as you are taking your journey through the program and you start to uncover, what your area of interests are, where you think your area of focus may be. This is where you can then apply that and get that real life experience. And so you are in full control of that. And so you can work with our team, in selecting opportunities that we've already vetted and we already have a wide variety of, or maybe you have a specific interest that's very unique to you in what you want to do, you can work with our dedicated team in our practicum department to help liaise that and maybe, you know, open up that opportunity or work with you on helping open up that opportunity. And so you can start accumulating your hours once you're 50% through the program. It's 140 hours. We increased it from 100 to 140 hours. And that's significant because the feedback we were getting was that it was such a valuable part of the experience that the 140 hours allows more flexibility to even do a couple different opportunities. You know, maybe it's 70 hours with one type of opportunity, 70 hours with another. And this can, you know, maybe you have a couple ideas and, you know, you do it and it validates, you know, that yes, this is what I want to do. And so not only does it validate you, it gives you that hands-on experience, some networking, may lead to a job opportunity. If anything else, it's going to give you additional knowledge and kind of tools of the trade while also networking in the industry. And then just as valuable, maybe there's something that you thought you wanted to do, you get in there, you start doing it, you realize it's not for you or it's not where you want to put your focus. That's just as valuable. So it kind of helps you make some of those career decisions while you're still under the scope of the program. And so some of these practicums are paid, you know, and some of them are, the trade is the knowledge and experience. And it depends what the specific experience is and what area you want to focus in. You know, probably like 60% of our nutritionists and health practitioners work in some sort of online space. And so a lot of times there's practicums where you're developing intellectual property. You know, maybe you're helping them research for their next book or design an online program, things like that. So oftentimes those types of experiences, they'll be paid or there'll be some sort of honorarium. And then you have like maybe something like a clinical experience where you're getting to sit in on the decision around protocols and actually contributing and doing research to protocols and things like that. And so then the trade obviously is the valuable knowledge and experience of working with a skilled and experienced practitioner. And as I mentioned, we develop these practicums based on what are the growing areas and what our graduates and what our students have communicated to us that they want to do. And so we kind of cater our experiences based on that. And so we have, you know, multiple relationships in Vancouver, across Canada, and even around the world to bring some of those valuable experiences. But as I mentioned, so we do send those out in email form bi-weekly. And so you may see something that just really speaks to you and you can just go ahead and apply and we can support you along the way if there's support needed. Or you may consult with us directly because there's a specific area of interest. And that's how we develop new opportunities, is when students come to us with these ideas. And then, as I've been saying throughout, it's a very individualized attention. You know, it's really working with you, the student, to make sure that you get full value of this opportunity and secure an experience that is relevant to you. And I guess I jumped ahead there, but you can see practicums are around the area, across Canada, and around the world through something like the Worldwide Organization of Organic Farming. And so there's opportunities in Hawaii and other parts of the world. We've had students who have gone down to Nicaragua and other parts of the world to participate in health and restorative retreats. And then job opportunities. Another way that we support graduates is through our job opportunities. And so we develop and work with industry leaders and companies to develop job opportunities that are sent out on the 1st and 15th of every month to our alumni. So your relationship with IHN doesn't end when you finish the program. As an alumni, you're welcome to come back to the guest speakers. And as well, you're getting access to a very private and specialized job board. A lot of these companies now will approach us And they're not advertising these opportunities on a Workopolis or any of these other sites because they're looking for very skilled and specific knowledge base. And so that is our students. And so it's a wide range. Some of these job opportunities may even be available to you while you're a student. And it could be, a very part-time kind of entry-level thing, all the way up to, something that's like a six-figure income. And I think the industry continues to grow and evolve, and this is an area that is sought out, and people are starting to understand the value and the importance of nutrition. Both scientists and medical professionals are understanding this. And if we were having this talk 10 years ago, it may have been much more entrepreneurial. But I think there's just such a wealth of different types of opportunities that kind of there's something out there for us to do, and it's really exciting. Oh, and as far as the postgraduate services available as well, if you need help with resume, or you've developed a business proposal and maybe you need some just another set of eyes or things like that, we offer those types of services to our alumni as well. So we encourage alumni to still be a part of the IHN community, and we want to see everybody flourish and help them do that any way that we can. And so one of the common questions I get, and some of you may be thinking right now, is what is job security and job opportunities look like in the field of holistic nutrition? And I would say it's very secure. As I alluded to, it's a growing field, and I'm sure some of you have seen that for yourself, of the types of opportunities. And it's so dynamic, and there's so many different paths. If you were to go on, say, Indeed and Google holistic nutritionist, there may not be pages and pages of opportunities, but it's not a snapshot of the opportunities out there, because we are skilled and educated in holistic nutrition. But the job opportunity, like myself, is campus manager of a holistic institution. There's graduates who are working as health educators for companies. And so there might be different titles that aren't holistic nutritionists per se, but they're drawing on that knowledge and they're looking for the expertise in holistic nutrition. And so with that said, about 70% of our graduates find work or are working in the field of nutrition. And to be honest, I would say that that number may even be higher, but not everybody is here for a career opportunity, right? I think that's what makes this institution very unique and this program very unique, is some people are here on their own journey and for their own learning, or they want to be able to understand how to support their children holistically, or how to help an aging parent, or whatever the circumstance may be. So that 70% is already a pretty high number, but it might be even higher if this was strictly a career institution, but it brings people from all different motivations and backgrounds. And yeah, so let's get into kind of what some of those practicum and job opportunity categories look like. So one of the most obvious is private consulting. So as a practicum, this may be working in a clinic with an ND, or I know in Ontario they have integrative clinics where there's an MD and an ND and CNPs, and I'm very optimistic that that's the way of the future, to have more of that integrative medicine, where we're bringing all of these different practitioners that have something of value to offer and working together. So maybe working in something like that and supporting with, protocols and research for specific cases, or it may be more on the social media side, developing blogs for the website, supporting the growth and the visibility of the clinic by using your nutrition knowledge and being able to communicate that in different ways. And then as a job, similarly, it may be working in something like a multidisciplinary clinic or another type of medical environment, chiropractic, massage therapy. These are modalities that complement holistic nutrition very well. And we'll see graduates that are working in a clinic with an RMT or with a chiropractor who has a bit of a holistic approach, because you can tackle the case from all perspectives. If you're dealing with somebody with a physical injury, there's the physical manipulation of maybe something like a chiropractor or physiotherapist, but then it's also how can we support them nutritionally to reduce inflammation in the body or speed up the recovery process. So those are modalities that work very well together, and so you'll see a lot of those different practitioners kind of work together in clinic settings. And then to further that experience, we do have the IHN Student Clinic. So this is an opportunity for us to offer very valuable and affordable nutrition counseling to the general public who, to people who are seeking that healing and that help. And working with someone who's very close to graduating. And so it's a nice kind of mutual partnership of, getting the affordable healthcare, and as well, a graduate or someone close to graduating, getting that real life experience of working as a practitioner while being guided by the student clinic coordinator. So somebody who has been working in the field for a long time and can help kind of manage that process and provide feedback on protocols and kind of brainstorm together. And so obviously the client is getting that value added of having that support for the student, and then the student getting that invaluable support to be able to grow as a clinician. And then for job opportunities, kind of that same diversity, whether it's working in the clinics or potentially launching your own professional practice. Sports nutrition, I already highlighted kind of my own personal journey that was working in sports nutrition. And, there was a few different things that I did and things that are available. And it's an industry or a section of nutrition that is growing and is needed. And so it may be working in a gym or a fitness center as kind of a nutritional consultant for members. It could be something that you develop on your own. And work with athletes. For myself, it was kind of a mix of things. It was, going to gyms, gyms would bring me in and I would do talks for their members. So it might be a specialized like hour talk that they're wanting to do as kind of like a gift or a value added to being a member of that gym. As well as working with strength and conditioning coaches and different people in the sports world who would refer me or send to me their clients that they're working with to really kind of dial in the nutrition part. So cool opportunities in the area of sports nutrition. And then we have health food stores and pharmacies. So as a practicum, that might be working on the floor and helping guide people to different nutraceuticals and supplements that will help them with a variety of chronic concerns. And then as a job, that could be continuing to evolve in that type of role, or we'll have graduates who are managers of these types of stores and pharmacies, and some that have even gone on to open their own. I spent about 6 months post-graduation working in a supplement store, and it was of great value because it really allowed me to start to integrate and put together the knowledge that I learned in the program and kind of do it in I guess kind of a fast-paced environment. It's kind of a cool experience to, have someone walk in and they might say, I just came from the doctor, looks like I have IBS. I'd like to kind of tackle it, from kind of a holistic approach. What should I do? And now you get to draw on all this information that's kind of banked in your head to kind of, okay, let's go to the digestive enzyme section and probiotics and so forth and kind of put all that together. So it's really impacting people. And I think it's also a snapshot of that evolution of the industry that I was talking about, where, 10, 20 years ago, you may walk into a supplement store and, it's somebody who's got good customer service skills and sales skills, whereas now companies are seeking out people that really have the information that we as holistic nutritionists have. And then natural health product sales, so promotional marketing. So as a practicum, that could look at like working with industry partners in supplement and food as a representative, brand ambassador, going to some of these big consumer trade shows, going to health food stores and doing talks and showcasing the products and demos, maybe getting in a corporate environment and doing some sort of talk or like health day. We've had graduates, and I know of some personally that are working in that kind of corporate space where a company might bring them in to do like an hour workshop over lunch or something. And then they're also set up at a table for the day where they can take individual questions from people and concerns from people and work a little bit more one-on-one. And more companies are spending that kind of money. So that's great. And, I mentioned before, even just the different titles, and I mentioned something like health educator. There's graduates that are working for supplement companies and health companies that are educators. Their primary role, again, is to go to these consumer shows or go to different health food stores or supplement stores to maybe train the staff on the product or train them on specific protocols. So lots of cool opportunities there. And then there's the other side. There's the product and research and development side when it comes to nutraceuticals and supplements. Camprev, we have a long working relationship between IHN and Camprev, which is a Canadian company based out of Ontario. And every year they select, a couple students from IHN to work at Camprev and help with the formulation and development of products and doing some of that research, which is really fun and exciting. And then as a job, who knows, that could be working on the research side, maybe for a food company, developing, recipes or formulas for products. So yeah. And then holistic food preparation, probably one of the, I'll just say it's a huge area of opportunity, and I know I sound like a broken record, and I'm not trying to exaggerate or oversell it, but anything you think of when it comes to food, there is now people seeking the holistic option. And so what I mean by that is thinking of catering, right? I worked in the corporate world. Every meeting we had, everything we did, we always had lunch catered in, breakfast catered in. Now people are looking for the holistic options, the dairy-free options, the gluten-free options. People are building whole businesses just on catering foods to corporate companies that aren't sandwiches and cookies. And then you have maybe working as a holistic food chef and, being, one-on-one, working in somebody's home. We have graduates that, we have a graduate, Rochelle, who has a company called Beyond Nourished, and she's a private holistic chef. And she cooked for Trudeau over the summer. She has billion-dollar clients that fly her out to Europe when they're on vacation to just basically be their in-house chef for those couple of weeks because they're really diligent and specific when it comes to their food. And so, and many of you have probably seen these food prep companies where there's lots of, kind of made to order meal services and food prep and things like that. So if there's, kind of a culinary itch or food gets you excited, developing recipe gets you excited, boy, oh boy, is there lots of opportunities to work in that space. And then of course, the education, teaching and public speaking. I mentioned kind of the corporate education, being an instructor at somewhere like IHN, bringing back our graduates and faculty who can teach and share their valuable experience and knowledge. This picture is from Toronto. It's an all-girls school, and we've had graduates and students while they're doing their co-op go in there and provide nutritional education to their female athletes. Everything from talking about body image and disordered eating to how to properly fuel themselves for athletic events and things like that. Holistic nutrition is one of those things where you get to apply your creativity. And if you can think it, believe it, and dream it, you can make it happen. And I don't say that to be cliche. I say that because it's true, because I'm always blown away when I think I've seen all of the career paths, and I'm only presenting you a small snapshot of it, there's some graduate who thinks of something and carves out a new path for themselves. And so, you know, this field is one that, I'll be honest with you, it can be intimidating at first, because this isn't going to study accounting knowing that the end of the road is I'm going to be an accountant. This is studying holistic nutrition, and all these different possibilities and paths are open up to you. So it's very exciting. And I'll leave it there. I think it's very exciting. And if you can envision it for yourself, and there's something that hasn't been done, doesn't mean that it can't be done. And writing and journalism, of course, blogs are super popular. Social media is one of the main ways that people are getting information, and this is where we provide a lot of value, both as practicum students and as, you know, graduates out in the field. You know, I mentioned before about companies wanting to hire people that have this specific knowledge, and this has included things like social media and marketing. So I find that some companies are, yes, you know, they want you to have a certain competency, a certain level of competency when it comes to some of these mediums, but it's also, they're willing to teach some of the marketing and the how-to somebody who has this knowledge, rather than the other way around, where somebody is a marketing expert but doesn't have the education to back them up to actually, you know, speak on holistic health or holistic nutrition. So lots of opportunities, you know, online, things like that, as well as even being a freelance writer. You know, I have a friend that I did the program with who, she's got, like many nutritionists, kind of a few different things that she works on. And one of them is writing for different companies that approach her. You know, she loves creative writing, and she loves research, and being able to put that together. You know, companies might approach her and say, hey, we need an article for our website on the ketogenic diet, you know, and then they pay her a lump sum of money to write an article. So lots of, you know, again, if writing is one of your things. And the other thing I want to kind of highlight is, this isn't about picking one specific passion. I think that's what's that's why I use the word exciting, is because, you know, you can have multiple interests. You know, you could really love meal prep and cooking food, and, you know, you have a meal prep food company, and you also enjoy creative writing, and you do some blogs and posts and things, either for yourself, for your own brand, or for other brands. You know, maybe you do cooking classes on the weekends, and once a week you work in a clinic and help people with nutrition protocols. Like, this is where you really get to get out of that 9 to 5, Monday to Friday model, and put together a life that fits you. And if that means being able to work remotely and travel the world, then you could do that by building an online business. And if you want to work in a clinical, but, you know, you only want to do it a couple days a week, and you have other projects you want to work on during the week, then you can do that. So I think just that flexibility is really exciting. And kind of piggybacking, I kind of jumped ahead because I already kind of talked about this, but yeah, the social media manager. So, you know, health food companies, different supplement companies, just anybody in that kind of health sphere that is looking for our graduates to help out with that social media and provide that engagement with their consumers with valuable information. And then we have the nutrition and the environment part. I mentioned WWOOFing, which always kind of makes me smile when I say it, but Worldwide Organization of Organic Farming. You know, they have retreats around the world that our graduates or our students will participate in. As I mentioned, you know, different yoga retreats or detox retreats and things like that. And then that may lead to a career in farming, or, you know, being a part of kind of that food source, or working at one of these retreat facilities. And if you haven't done so already, I would highly encourage you to visit our alumni page on the website and see what some of our alumni are up to. If we have a one-on-one meeting, we can talk a little bit more about what some of these folks, and share some of their profiles and talk about what they're doing in the field. But in the meantime, go check it out on the website and kind of see what some of our alumni are up to. And then some of our alumni are authors. So, Joy McCarthy from Joyous Detox, Marnie Wasserman, Fermenting for Dummies, who's now working as a full-time podcaster. So it just kind of shows you the ebb and flow of working as a nutritionist. And there's just kind of a snapshot of kind of the career opportunities, but I will emphasize that it's not an exhaustive list. These are kind of the main categories or buckets that graduates will find themselves working in, but it's certainly not limited to this.